Hey guys, my name is Anayasia and welcome to ASJ the Illustrator. So, as you might notice, my background's a little different. That's because I am back home in New York and I'm super excited. But in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a brief walkthrough of how to create a fashion figure and then how to add clothes to it. So the first thing you'll need is some paper. I like using this huge sketchbook. It's 11 by 14. Got it from Blick. Wasn't expensive, but I will say that literally any paper will suffice for this video. When I first started drawing, I used loose leaf paper and like composition notebooks just so I could like have something to draw on. So whatever you have should be fine. The next thing you'll need is a pencil. I like using mechanical pencils because I don't have to worry about stopping to sharpen them and they stay sharp the whole time. And I don't like drawing with dull pencils. The next thing you'll need is an eraser. So I use this white artist eraser, and I know it's not like a super common thing for anyone to have. I just don't like drawing or erasing with colored erasers because they leave like residue and like stuff like that. So if you're going to buy anything to follow along in this video, I suggest it's one of these because you're gonna be doing a lot of erasing. Alright, so let's just get started. So first thing you do is have your paper laid out in front of you, super flat, and then you're going to go in and draw an oval-like shape as a head. I like doing my head shapes as like kind of chiseled, like at the jaw, but if you're super new to this, you might not be able to do that. In this video, we're going to do the front and the back. So you're going to look at your paper in like a half and half vertical kind of fold. Don't actually fold the paper though. You're going to draw the head on both sides of the paper, and one is going to be the front and the other is going to be the back. I'll show you guys in a bit about how that difference comes about. So after you finish your head, you are going to draw a straight line from the chin down to the end of your paper. And then here's where it gets a little interesting. You're going to go in with some shapes. So as the torso, you're going to do a trapezoid, kind of an upside down trapezoid shape. And then for the hips, you're going to do the same thing in a smaller version, and in the opposite direction. After you have your trapezoid shaped hips, you're gonna go in and draw some joints. So as our joints, like our shoulders, elbows, and hips, I don't know the bone that connects to your thighs. So as those, you're going to draw some circles, and around like the hip area, you're going to draw some ovals. And then depending on which direction you want your arms to go in, if you want it bent, if you want it straight, is where you're going to draw your elbow. Some rules to abide by is that the elbow should line up at all times with the waistline. So that is where you're going to guide your elbow joint circle. After you draw your joints, you're going to go back in. You're going to do that on both sides, actually, on the front and the back. After you draw your joints, you're going to go in and start trying to connect some leg lines. So literally, when my fashion illustrator taught this, she just drew a squiggly line. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just like an hourglass-esque shape. And if you want to go back and forth and like try to figure out how to make it best look like legs, you can do that. Not everyone does. In another video, I'll show you guys what a rough sketch looks like, and if that's something that you would prefer, then you don't have to worry at all about the perfection of the leg shape. As you can see, I'm super perfectionist, so I went back and did my legs over a few times. but just trying to like tone the leg shape to make it look kind of realistic. And then after I did the legs, I went back up to the neck area to do a curvature to connect the head to the shoulder circles that we created. After creating the shoulders, I went in and started connecting the shoulder to elbow. Sometimes I draw a line between them so I know like exactly which direction the arms are going in, but in this case I just went around the shoulder and around the elbow to connect everything and make it look like an arm. After I finish the arms, I go back into the torso and make it look like a lady. So that means there's going to be a bust line, and then you're going to bring that bust line in and create some curves to connect to the hips. And at this point, you might see that it's like really starting to look like a figure. And you're going to continue to do this on both sides. The difference in the front and the back is that the back won't have a bust line. Here I went back in and I did the details for feet. So it's another curvature. So you did your hourglass figure for your legs, and then at the end of that hourglass figure for your legs is another hourglass figure. Just a very like miniature hourglass figure. And then I connected those with like triangle shape-ish toes. So think pointy toe shoes. That's what your default feet would look like. And then on the back, we're doing the same thing with the arms. In this video, I did a different shape arms for the back. Instead of having the power pose, hands on the hips, I left the arms down so you could see what the process is for that. And it's basically the same thing, just not bent, and I think that's a little bit easier. The shape is more similar to the leg curvature than it is to anything else. And after you finish the arms on your back figure, you can go back in and start adding a little more detail for the legs. And if you see where the feet are for the back figure, you'll notice that instead of having it pointed, it flattens out on the bottom. And that's how you know which direction is facing front and which direction is facing the back. Because naturally, when you're walking away from something, your feet, and especially in heels, your feet are pointed the opposite direction. So after drawing the feet, we're going to start erasing some of the lines that we created for the figure. So that trapezoid shape, the lines that are going straight up the middle, you're going to erase all of those. And then I went back to the back figure and did the same thing. And as you add more detail, you'll notice that the back figure becomes more and more apparent that it is a back. So instead of adding the bust area, you're going to add a little booty. So it's going to be like a little heart shape. And now we have two figures, one in the front and one in the back. For this video, I was super inspired about just being home and how we're dressing when we're home. So you want to be comfortable, and sometimes you want to dress kind of cute. So I named this sketch Cozy Chic, and I'm going to be drawing some comfy shorts with a wrap hoodie. So the key to putting clothes on your figure is thinking of your figure as a paper doll. I know you guys played with them when you were younger. I had a Holly Hobby coloring book that like had like a pop out like paper a pop out paper doll and like all the paper clothing. And I say that to say, when you're putting clothing on, when you're putting clothing on, it doesn't stick to your skin. unless it's leggings or tights or something like that. So if you're drawing something and it's not supposed to be skin tight, then you're not going to use the lines from the original figure. You're going to draw your clothing lines around the original figure. So for the shorts, that's exactly what I did. They're not skin tight, so the waistband is a little like away from the bodice, and same thing for the end of the shorts. So after I did the normal frame for the shorts, I went in and I started doing some little details. So what did I want the waistband to look like? Do I want it to be wide or thin? I went in and did some nice, like, kind of cute curvy pockets, just trying to make it look, you know, cute but comfy. And I did some holes for the drawstrings for the shorts, and then I went back in and I darkened the lines a bit, because usually when I draw something for the first time, I draw it pretty light, just to make sure that I'm sure about it. If it's light, you can erase it without it being too messy. You don't want your drawing to be messy because you drew really hard for all of the things. You want to have a light hand for when you're doing the beginning of the sketch. That way you can erase your mistakes and erase all of the things that don't belong. After this, my video cut out, so you couldn't see me do the jacket, do the hoodie. But because it was supposed to be skin tight with a little bit of leeway, I did the end of the hoodie next to the waistband, a little away from the bodice, curving it in just a tad, to make it look like it's like hanging over just the tiniest bit over the shorts, and everything else is skin tight. And then the hoodie, like the actual hood of the sweater, is a straight line, and then you connect the straight line to the front of the hoodie and curve it around. And I know these instructions sound super complicated when you can't see me doing it, so I'm going to show it again in doing the back of the figure. But as you can see, I went back in and did the legs again because I can't stand to not have it as perfect as I like it. So yeah, just ignore me going back and forth in doing these legs. I'm super particular. So after I toned up the legs, I added some cute over the knee socks just to make the outfit look a little more cozy. I know that while I'm home, I love wearing socks around the house, and I feel like this is 100% something I would wear. I did a little shoe because I'm thinking if you modeled this on a runway, you would still wear heels. No, that's not like something people would do at home. Maybe you could envision these as slippers or something like that. But again, vision is entirely up to you. This is just a walkthrough so you guys can see what my process is like. So I added a bit of detail to the over the knee socks just to make it very different from her skin, her upper thigh skin, because I won't be coloring the sketch in this video. But after I did that, I added some more detail to the part that is like her hands going into the pockets, just because trying to make it look a little more realistic. And next we go back to the back and we draw the waistband exactly the same as we did in the front figure, but instead of having drawstring holes, we will not have drawstring holes. And then in this part, you can kind of see where I went in and did the bodice for the hoodie. So it lays just slightly outside of the actual figure, so it's fitted but not skin tight. And then I went in and did the hood, which is the line that I was saying, and then you curve it near the shoulder blade to bring it down into a circular or round shape, and you do that on both sides, and then you connect it at the bottom to create almost a bowl-like shape. And then after you draw some of these things, you're going to erase the actual body under it, so you won't have her shoulder line through the clothing, because you can't see that when someone is wearing clothing. I also added some detail in like the hood to make it look more folded, just because I like making things look as realistic as possible. You don't have to go this much in detail if you're super new to this, or if you don't have a lot of time, if you just need to get the concept down. And then, as you can see, I kept going back in and darkening the lines, because the first sketch, what's on the paper the first time, is very much just trying to get the idea on paper. Darkening it up will allow it to be more seen, and having it light the first time will allow it to be easily erased. So then I went back in to the arm part, because at first I wasn't sure where I wanted the sleeves to lay, and I'm trying to draw it in a way that it kind of like covers the hand a bit, and maybe even has like some finger holes, which I think is really cool. And then I did that on both the front and the back. And then I went back in and I did the socks and the shoes for the figure. So at the end, near the feet, you'll notice that I kind of did a notion of where her heels would end, like on her foot. Because usually I draw a line straight down, but because this is a more chill outfit, I didn't want the figure to be wearing actual heels. So here's the finished figure, and I didn't add any color because you guys are super beginners, and I don't want you guys to stress out about color being perfect or anything like that. This video was supposed to be a simple instruction on how to draw the figure and how to draw the clothes. Some other tips I have, I think adding detail is your best friend. When you're starting, I know like adding detail might be super intimidating, like drawing a hoodie. I know the first time that I drew a hoodie didn't look enough like a hoodie to me, but the more detail you add, the more other people can visualize what you're trying to convey. That's all I have for you guys today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!